all now. Whoever does not conform to the law of fraternity and understanding, obviously, won't cross such boundaries. The dark regions of the umbral are crowded with entities that failed in similar trials. As long as they hate, they are like magnetic needles under the most antagonistic influences. As long as they do not understand the truth, they will suffer the empire of falsity, and consequently, they will be unable to enter the regions of higher activity. There are countless individuals who suffer for years without any spiritual relief, simply because they have forgotten true fraternity. What happens then? I asked, availing myself of a brief pause. If they aren't admitted to spiritist centers of noble learning, where do those poor souls live while enduring such trials? After they have experienced truly infernal sufferings caused by the inferior creations they have invented for themselves, replied Lycia's mother, they will then try to use a new physical experience to achieve what they failed to achieve in the environment apart from their earth bodies. Divine goodness grants their minds the forgetfulness of the past, and through blood ties they will be reunited with those whom they deliberately shunned out of hate or misunderstanding. Thus, we can fully understand the meaning of Jesus' message when he advises us to immediately reconcile with our adversaries. His warnings is really Grupo's, and we must heed it for our own good. Upon finishing an earthly experience, souls can use their time wisely in the spirit world to accomplish spiritual deeds, which in turn will help them return to gross matter, if necessary, with fewer concerns. There are many spirits who spend centuries trying to undo animosities and antipathies during their earthly existence, but then revert to them again after discarnating. For Jesus, my dear Andre, the issue of forgiving is paramount. Simply talking about forgiveness is meaningless. Forgiving is more than a matter of mere words. One who truly forgives must move and remove the inner heavy burdens of the past. Eu vou tentar traduzir e ler ao mesmo tempo, tá? Em português. Então, não seja tão radical. Se torna imperativo proceder lentamente. Muitas pessoas sentem a aflição de outras pessoas, mas sem entendê-las. Não esqueça que as nossas afinidades vibratórias são muito mais importantes aqui na Terra. Tobias, ok, aí eu trouxe um pouquinho mais para trás. Aqueles que não conformam com a lei de fraternidade e compreensão, obviamente não vão entender o sentido disso tudo. As regiões as regiões escuras do umbral estão sempre cheias de entidades que faliram em testes similares. No quanto vocês odiarem, vocês serão como agulhas magnéticas, antagonizando influências. No tanto que vocês não entenderem a verdade, irão sofrer um império de falsidade e, consequentemente, irão falir sem ter acesso às regiões mais altas. Existem várias pessoas que sofrem por anos com qualquer sintoma, qualquer alívio, nenhum alívio espiritual, porque eles realmente não encontraram ainda a fraternidade real. Mas o que acontece então? Eu perguntei. Eles não são admitidos nos centros espíritos sérios enquanto estão sofrendo? Bom, depois que eles experimentaram realmente aqueles sofrimentos infernais causados pelas criações interiores que eles mesmos inventaram, respondeu a mãe de Elias, eles então vão adquirir uma nova experiência física, longe daquela do corpo físico. A divina graça entrega a todos o esquecimento do passado. E pelas uniões que eles vão ser reunidos na vida, é importante para entender todas as raivas que já tiveram no passado. Então, vindo novamente, vão entender realmente a mensagem de Jesus para reconciliar imediatamente com seus adversários. Acabando as experiências na Terra, os espíritos vão novamente entrar no mundo para para continuar no seu trabalho. E depois disso, voltar para a Terra, se necessário, com menos problemas, com menos dores. Mas existem muitos espíritos que passam centenas de anos com animosidades, antipatias nas experiências carnais. E voltam novamente para o plano espiritual com as mesmas experiências. Mas, André, querido Jesus, o problema do perdão é paramount, é enorme. Falar somente do perdão não vale nada. Perdão é muito mais do que você falar algumas palavras. Aquele que realmente perdoa tem que mover e remover todos os pesos do passado. Espero que eu pude traduzir aqui.
So now we go back to Edgar Cayce. Now, this number means he didn't use names. This is the number for that person. That means that's the person. This is his second reading. So this is the next thing. When you had a very serious illness, this is what he would ask you before we even started.
Aquele número ali não significa muita coisa. Ali é porque é a segunda leitura que ele fez com aquela pessoa que perguntou algo e ele respondeu. E agora ele vai entrar numa pergunta que ele fazia para todos.
What would the body be healed for? That might gratify? I'm just curious. How many of you understand English before?
Quem fala inglês aqui?
Okay. How many of you understand no English?
Quem não fala inglês?
So maybe you can have those headphones.
4, 5.
Fine. So we'll have to do this.
Sure, keep going.
Okay, so I'm gonna wait or just. Okay.
No, keep going.
Okay. What would the body be healed for? That it might gratify its own physical appetites? That it might add to its own selfishness? Then, if so, it had better remain as it is. But first, the change of the heart, the change of the mind, the change of purpose, the change of intent.
I'll translate this. Eu vou traduzir isso e vou dar os microfones para as pessoas que não falam inglês e eu faço tradução simultânea, tá bom? O porquê de curar o corpo? Será somente para gratificar os seus apetites físicos? Será que isso iria adicionar a sua própria selfishness? Egoísmo, seu próximo egoísmo? Então, talvez é melhor deixar como está. Mas, primeiro, temos que mudar o nosso coração, mudar a mente, mudar a nossa meta, mudar a nossa intenção.
According to Edgar Cayce, there's only one sin. The only sin of man is selfishness. Everything comes from selfishness. Everything. And everything is vibration. Everything is vibration. There is not, you're a vibration. So, this is the key to the Edgar Cayce philosophy. Spirit is the life, mind is the builder, the physical is the result. The problem that you have in this dimension. Now, and this way, I was also reading the Spirit's book the other day, and he talks about where you go, where the Spirit goes besides this planet. And Edgar Cayce said about this dimension, he said this is a very mundane sphere. Mundane sphere. Not good. In terms of places you could be, not good. Chico Xavier says, actually Alan Kardec says in the Spirit's book, he says this is one of the lowest places, one of the lowest planets that you could ever be. This is it. And he actually talks about Jupiter being where a lot of advanced souls go. In the Edgar Cayce philosophy, he talks about astrology, although he talks about it in a little different way. It's very interesting. He says the stars incline, they don't compel. Understand? The stars incline, they don't compel your will if you use it. is stronger than everything. Your will, if you use it. And he says your spirit actually goes to these planets. And that's why you're influenced by these planets, because you've actually been there. And that vibration is what you're all about. So, okay. You know that all strength, all healing of every nature is the changing of the vibrations from within. The attuning of the divine within the living tissue of the body to creative energies, this alone is healing. Whether it is accomplished by the use of drugs, the knife, or whatnot, it is the attuning of the atomic structure of the living cellular force to its spiritual heritage. It's all about coming back to spirit. It's all about remembering that you're a spirit and that you've made yourself sick. You see, you're responsible for your illness because you broke the law. That's it. You broke the law. And it's like when I tell people there are no miracles. Absolutely no miracles. Everything in this world is lawful. Jesus was able to do what he did because he understood the laws. And he said to you, and ye shall do greater things. And you say, oh, yeah, if I could do what he did, I would be very happy, right? I don't need to do more. But it was lawful. If you break the law, you suffer. If you don't believe in gravity, jump out the window. That's a law. You don't have to. You don't have to believe it, but that's the law. There's laws in the universe. There are forces in the universe. If Edgar Cayce was here right now, what he would say is, there are thousands of spirits in the room right now. He was not a medium. He very rarely, he did it a few times. That was not his purpose on this planet. But to him, they were like, you sitting here with me. That's how he would see it. No different. He has a little take, and again, you get into, this is the key. Just so you understand, I will talk about these things. And I understand there are a lot of people, and I'll get to it. But, that being said, this is the foundation for everything that I'm going to talk about. Everything. If you knew the laws, you wouldn't need any of these. None of it. But we all break the laws, myself included. So, he was a fundamentalist Christian, Edgar Cayce. And when the spirit first started, because he would go into trance, it wasn't like Chico when he psychographed. He would go into trance, he didn't remember what happened when he woke up. There was always a secretary next to him that took down everything. And when he first started doing it, he thought, you have to understand, this is over 100 years ago, he thought that the devil had taken him over. That's how he looked at it. They didn't know. He was a farmer, he was uneducated, he didn't know. They were so afraid of what was happening to him that his wife didn't let him give a reading for his own son. His own son was born in those days, it was whooping cough. They had a little boy that was born. And his wife said, no, you can't give him a reading. And finally, the little boy was so sick that they gave him a reading. And the reading came back while he was in trance. Your son will be dead in 3 days. And 3 days later, he died. So I'll show you how spirit works. Right after his son died, his wife came down with tuberculosis. Tuberculosis in those days is what cancer is today. You cough blood, and you get thin, and you're choking, and you're coughing, and there's no cure. He had a cure. There's a cure even today. So they put her in a hospital for those type of patients. It was interesting. Right across the street from the hospital was a cemetery. Wow. I can't even make this up. So she was coughing up blood, she was thin, and he told her to use certain remedies. He gave her a drug. She was in such pain that he gave her morphine or heroin. I don't know which one it was in those days. And then he gave her an inhaler, which I don't have here. Next time I'll bring it. And he gave her this. He gave her this for her chest. You rub this on your chest, under your arms, the back. Basically, this is turpentine and sheep's fat. Turpentine and sheep's fat.
Sheep's what?
Fat. Sheep's fat. So you run this under hot water, and this dissolves. This is if you have colds, congestions. I've done this with little girls, 6 months old. This with this is nothing better. He healed. He healed his wife. After he healed his wife, then everything started. Then he started giving readings for everybody. It didn't make a difference where you were. So that's a very short history of what this is all about. He was psychic. He was like, I'll tell you one last thing, and this is probably, which I haven't come across in Spiritism, but take this as you want. He said the first vibration, now remember everything's vibration, the first vibration was a soul he calls Amelius. He says that soul, Amelius, was the same soul that became Jesus Christ. Same soul that became Jesus Christ. He said Jesus came down as an example for us. That is the way to come back to spirit, to come back to who you are. We've screwed it up so badly in so many different lifetimes. And this is why you have the world that you have today. This is like the Umbral. This is our version. This is it. This is why you have, this is insanity out there. It's crazy. And we're all part of it. You're in this vibration. Don't think that you're better than anybody out there. You're not. You chose to come in at this time. You chose to be here in this vibration. That's your choice. So he said that Christ was the example for how to come back, to get back home, whatever you want to call it. God, whatever. These are all words. And he said that Christ had 30 incarnations. Now we get a little different than Chico. He said he was Melchizedek, he was Enoch, he was Joshua. He was 30 different. He came to show you the way. No matter what you did, you can go back home. No matter how bad you are, you're forgiven. Now, when Christ was crucified, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Yes? Yes. But he didn't say they wouldn't pay. He said, he didn't say they wouldn't. He forgave. He let it go. It was no longer his karma. He did not have to expiate that event. Finished. They did. As you sow, so shall you reap. That's the law. That's one of those laws. Very painful. But nothing that's happened to you in this lifetime is by accident. The good, the bad, the ugly, no accident. And this is also it gets very interesting with Edgar Cayce. He said, God itself doesn't know what the outcome will be until you make a choice. Because you're a part of God. Be still and know that I am God. Right? Isn't that what it says? Be still and know that I am God. If you didn't have a choice, then you would be a robot. So he's saying, and again, I'm using words, and try to use words to explain something that can't be explained. I don't understand. I mean, I get more of a feeling. I know this is right, and I can explain it in certain ways, and then words stop. If I said to you, "What is infinity?" Right? I ask you, "What's infinity?" Oh, something that goes on forever. Yes. Do you understand that? You can't understand. It's impossible. So what happened now is I just took you to the edge of your mind. Whatever number I give you, all I got to do is add 1. There'll be a bigger number. It's always a bigger number. So just, wow, it just keeps going. So that's where all of this stuff comes from that realm. This is coming, literally I say, this is coming from God. You could go to whatever doctor you want now. They don't know. What I'm going to tell you, they don't know what I'm talking about. They'll look at you, okay, oh yeah, you know what, if it works, don't do it. That's good, that's okay. It's like they're very condescending because they don't know. I had lunch. This is the last story, then I'll go into this. So, there's a friend of mine, we meet, go back to Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn anyway. Had lunch, and plays golf every Wednesday, literally with his friend who's a doctor, and his wife is a doctor. So the doctor has irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Very bad, and during lunch I told him what I would do to heal it. He was very polite, he listened, and then my friend said after I left, he said he'd rather go for surgery. Instead of using some of this, which I told him to do now, try to imagine. Instead of doing it, using Castor Oil Pack, which I'm going to explain, I'll start with this. He said he'd rather that they cut him open. Okay? And your choice. So you learn that way. Okay. Also, if there's a question, you can ask me a question. I don't mind. Any questions so far? Not good. You should have questions. You see, and I taught for over 50 years. Nobody's asking a question, not good. So,
we'll keep the questions
to the end?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we can do that. So hold on to your question. Okay, so again, I could talk about a lot of these things. I could be talking. Cayce gave readings on Atlantis. He gave readings on ancient Egypt. When he was Rata, he was the priest. He gave readings on all of these topics, which I'm very familiar with. I'll really freak you out. You want to get freaked out a little bit? This will be the last. And Chico doesn't talk about this either. Okay? So just so you understand, this is going to blow your mind. You may look at me differently, but what I'm going to say to you, I do believe. He said, when we were spirit, we felt. We made some bad choices. And he says, the universe, the earth, did not exist. He said, everything that you see here, all the planets, everything was created as a way for you to come back to spirit. Everything. This is all so that you remember who you are. Okay? Who you were was spirit. You weren't male, you weren't female, there was no sex, there was no disease. You were a part of God. We fell. We made a bad decision. In the Bible, we were thrown out of the Garden of Eden. How many of you are familiar with Chico Xavier? He wrote, you ever heard of the constellation called Capella?
Yes.
So he says, we were on Capella. And they were at the point that we're at right now. You're at the same point, and everybody here is from that constellation. Everybody here was on that planet. Everybody. And what happened was the vibration there changed. It got to a vibration of love, fraternity, and the souls that were not that high vibration couldn't continue, couldn't go to a higher. It's like when Andre Louise, where's my mother? How come she's not here? His mother was at a higher. So the higher can come down to the lower. The lower can't go up to the higher. We could no longer stay on that planet. We were thrown out. And here we are again. Hello, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope to see you in better circumstances, in a nicer place. No, nothing personal. That's what you're going through now. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Chico's prediction. You know what he said? 50 years from the day that man lands on the moon. 50 years, which is next July 19th to 21st. He said, if we don't blow ourselves up, then it's the start of a new era.
2019.
Yeah, 2019, 50 years. So we're in a transition point now. That's why you have the craziness. That's why the energy is so intense. That's what you're going through now. And the spirits that are no longer on this high vibration, there will be no womb for that vibration to come through. They will no longer be born on this planet. It will be impossible. That vibration will not be allowed on this planet the same way we weren't allowed on that planet. Okay, enough?
Enough.
Well, now let's get to this. So my favorite remedy is castor oil. I think this is what Tanya was talking about. This is what everybody wants. Okay, castor oil. Castor oil comes from the castor bean, one of the deadliest poisons on the planet. If you took the castor bean, God bless you, it's 10,000 times more poisonous than a rattlesnake bite. 2,000 times, not twice, 3 times. Look what I'm saying. I'm talking about the thousands. 2,000 times more poisonous than cyanide, which is what you see. You bite and you die. The Greeks called this, the name that the Greeks gave to this is Palma de Christi, the palm of Christ. That's the name that they gave to castor oil. Very, very fitting. This is probably, there's 3 remedies, the etamidine, this, and this, that are my 3 favorite. So, he would never tell you, very rare, to take it internally. This was always done in a pack, okay? A castor oil pack. Now, this is part of the treatment for ovarian cysts, fibroids, tumors. I have books written just on how to use castor oil, but in packs. Now, I'm going to show you a little video how to make a castor oil pack. All right? So that should, because Fatima was getting all sorts of phone calls from people. How do I do a castor oil pack? Okay. I do it a little different, but this is a good introduction to castor oil packs, and then we'll go from there. Okay? Now, I can't tell you high enough. Go to my website. This is my website, edgarcayceheals.com. I don't sell anything. There's nothing to buy. All I'm giving you is information. And it's really all here. So, make the Edgar Cayce remedies at home. So click that. Oh, we have the sound again, or?
Oh, remember you shut it off?
Shut it off.
Oh, I should have. So it's my fault.
Yeah.
Okay, it should be getting sound now. But... Okay, that's his grandson that passed. Edgar Cayce's grandson. No, no, no. Master volume. Okay. Debbie?
Yeah.
I'm not getting this. So it's, either I did something or
In your computer, I think.
it's no longer on. It's on maximum volume.
Maybe if I turn on.
That works.
Castor oil. We all have an image of it. Vile tasting
Maybe that's my YouTube.
Now, it may seem an unlikely
It's the music.
Castor oil, fala castor em inglês, é o quê?
Castor, só que esse é óleo de rícino.
Mamona?
Isso é óleo de rícino.
Peraí, castor, mamona, mais alguma
Óleo de
óleo?
rícino.
Então é rícino, mamona e castor.
Rícino.
Rícino. Só para todo mundo saber, é óleo de rícino, mamona e castor. Tem três nomes. So I can switch those. You said three things.
There's no word for
No,
this.
okay.
There's no word for this.
Iodina, né? É iodina.
It's basically,
É iodina, não é?
that's iodine trichloride.
É iodo tricloroide. Então, é um tônico, mas é, né, difícil em português.
Só para você saber, a Tânia mencionou para algumas pessoas, isso aí é o mesmo que atomatine.
Atomatine. Quando a Tânia veio aqui, falava atomatine.
castor oil. We all have an image of it, that vile-tasting medicine that insistent mothers used to force down children who had too much candy. Now, it may seem an unlikely candidate as a cornerstone for Cayce's health care, but when you study the readings, you see that it indeed is. You will be relieved to know, however, that it is hardly ever recommended internally. Most readings recommend castor oil in the form of castor oil packs. Some 545 Cayce readings recommend these packs, and they're suggested for such things as arthritis, colds, constipation, cysts, flu, even ulcers. And that's just a partial list. Remember, for the most part, the castor oil packs were only a part of the treatment. As I said before, Cayce's approach is a holistic one. So in no way do we mean to imply that a castor oil pack by itself will correct any of these diseases. But what does a castor oil pack do? Well, the Cayce readings say that it will increase your eliminations, stimulate the liver, which is the filtering organ of the body, relieve pain, reduce inflammation of tissues, and stimulate the lymphatic system. There's been some research about the effects of castor oil packs, particularly in connection with the immune system, and there are indications that castor oil packs do indeed stimulate the body's natural immune system. This all boils down to the fact that whenever you begin to feel sick or run down or out of sorts, put on a castor oil pack. When you go to bed at night, it helps you sleep. It helps eliminations and just helps get your strength back. So let me show you how to prepare a castor oil pack. Castor oil packs are remarkably simple. They're really nothing more than wool flannel soaked with castor oil laid against the skin. Now, castor oil packs are also pretty messy, and the size and placement is also very important. You begin with a piece of wool flannel, 18 to 24 inches, that when folded down 3 to 4 thicknesses is about 10 to 12 inches. You can get wool flannel at any store that carries Cayce products. You can also get it at your fabric shop, or if all else fails, just use an old wool blanket from around the house, a piece of one. You'll also need a plastic or rubber sheet or anything waterproof to protect the bedding from the oil. Here you see an electric heating pad, a couple of old towels, 2 large safety pins, and some plastic sheeting. Trash bags or dry cleaning covers are great, just so it's long enough to wrap around the body where you're going to put the flannel. And you'll need at least a pint of castor oil. Now, most drugstores sell the smaller size castor oil, but that's not really enough to get started. Any store that supplies Cayce products will have the larger size, and you'll probably save money in the long run anyhow. Now, before you get started preparing the pack, it's a good idea to get your bedding ready. This is so when you put on the pack, you can just lie down. Take a plastic sheet, lay it down on the bed.
Do not.
Then put a towel over that.
Your couch.
Now that that's ready and waiting, let's get back to preparing the pack itself. The first thing you do is fold the flannel to the proper size. The readings suggest putting the pack in different places depending on the individual situation, but the most common place is over the liver and gallbladder, then extending a little bit over the abdomen. You can see on this diagram that the liver is on the right side of the torso, under the lower part of the rib cage. So your flannel will cover the liver, the gallbladder, and the abdomen very nicely. Now, the next step is to soak the flannel in castor oil and then warm it. One method is to take a baking dish like this, lay in the flannel, and just pour on the castor oil. Then pop it in the oven. Then, when the castor oil is warm, just take it out and lightly wring the excess oil out of the flannel.
It's a lot of work.
You have to be careful of this, because the oil can burn you. It's only supposed to be warm. The readings say that the flannel should be saturated with the oil, but not dripping. Now, let's watch a castor oil pack being applied. As you can see, the pack is being placed directly over the liver and then extending over the upper abdomen. Then the pack is covered with plastic. Next, the heating pad is placed over the plastic and the pack. And then finally, a towel is wrapped around and fastened with a couple of safety pins. The purpose of the plastic is to keep the pad and the towel from becoming stained with oil. Now, when you do this, just lie down, plug in your heating pad, and relax for an hour. And remember, the pack should be as warm as you can comfortably stand. Don't make it painful, just very comfortably warm. Afterwards, since the oil is kind of sticky, you can wash it off with a mild baking soda solution, say 2 teaspoons to a quart of warm water. When you remove the pack, store it in a jar that you can heat it up in later. It should have a lid to it so you can keep it clean. So the next time you're ready to prepare a pack, simply put a little more castor oil in the jar. Just a little in the bottom. Then place the jar in a pan, about this much water in the bottom of it. But before you do, put a dish towel in the bottom of the pan. This helps protect the bottom of the jar. And let it heat for about 6 or 8 minutes on medium heat. Not too hot. Remember, we want it comfortably warm. Now, when it's heated, simply pull it out. And the plastic, remember the plastic that protects your towel and your pad. Pull this out. Unroll it. Remember that oil we put in the bottom of the jar? That's warm now. Very comfortable. Pour that on the pad. Now you have your castor oil pack. Now this works best for us, but you may find your own system after a while. Whatever the case, using this, you can use the pack over and over again. Harold Riley, the physiotherapist who collaborated with Cayce for years, recommends in his very excellent Handbook for Health Through Drugless Therapy that you don't share the castor oil pack, but every member of your family should have their own. And don't try to wash the pack. If you think it's gotten too dirty, say after 6 months or a year, just throw it away and start with a new flannel. In terms of how often to use castor oil packs, the readings suggest a cycle. That is, every day for 3 days, then off for 3 days, then back on again for 3 days until you feel better. The readings also recommend taking a couple of teaspoons of olive oil each night and 2 tablespoons after the 3rd pack. This will help you eliminate any toxins in your system. Some readings suggest even having an occasional castor oil pack to maintain good health. I think that's good advice. There, that's one of Cayce's major remedies, castor oil packs. Next, let's look at a product, a really useful product. Cayce recommended in his readings as well.
Again, this is on my website. Go back to it. You don't even have to take notes. I mean, making the 80 Cayce remedies at home. That's very good. It's all here. Now, I don't do it the way you just saw. Don't wear a sweatsuit when you're doing a castor. That'll be the last time you wear that sweatsuit. And don't do it on the couch, because that'll be the end of your couch. So, don't do it like that. So, do it the way I'm going to tell you how to do it. When I do it, I use, the reason he said flannel, because flannel retains heat. I use a white t-shirt made out of cotton. So what I do, in the first time you do it, the little bottle is going to be worthless, because the first time you use a t-shirt, it's going to go to about up to here. The key to using a castor oil pack is it has to be soaked. You saw how it was all oily and everything? That's what your pack has to look like. If it doesn't look like that, you're not getting it's all good, but you're not getting the benefit that you should be getting from it. And you have to use a heating pad. Some people get I'm a messenger. If Casey said to use a heating pad, use a heating pad. Some people use hot water. It's not going to get as hot. Use a heating pad. And what I do is, once I do it, I take the t-shirt from here, down both sides, all the way down to here. So once I do it, I cover everything. Now, when you heat it, again, I don't do it the way he does it. Take a little metal pot. He said not to use aluminum. Empty it so it's down to here, so it heats up. Now, heat it up. Be careful, because once it starts to heat, you'll see some bubbles come up. Take it off. You don't want to burn, it's not like making French fries. This is, you're going to pour it over the t-shirt. Now, I usually do it in bed. I'll take a plastic tablecloth. I'll put it behind me. And then what I'll do is I'll take the t-shirt and I'll put it right on me. And then I take a white garbage bag and put it on top of the t-shirt. And then I put the heating pad on top of the plastic bag. This way the heating pad doesn't get filled with oil. Okay? It relaxes you. It just makes you really very calm. That's all I can tell you. It's one of the treatments for hyperactive children. It's actually one of the treatments for kidney stones, gallstones, epilepsy. Castor Oil Pack. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but let's just go.
Jack,
Yes. Oh, good.
if you don't have a heating pad, what to do?
Without the heat, it's not good.
Yeah.
You have to have heat. It's very clear, as hot as the body can take it, because it's pushing it inside the body. It opens up the pores, and the vibration is like when people were constipated. If you were constipated, he didn't tell you to take castor oil. Although, if you would take it, it's like a bomb. I mean, it really is very powerful.
But you need to be careful how to handle the heating pads, because you can get burned.
No, the heating pads they got today stink. None of them get hot. They all, the old ones, yes, you get burned. The ones they have nowadays, they don't even get
And
hot.
also, the new ones, we can have light, medium, and high.
You want it on high. Yes.
I had a question here.
Sure.
Kidney stones, gallbladder stones.
Yes.
How about liver? Would that also work?
There is no better cleanse for the liver than the castor oil pack.
Então, só para traduzir, esse é o melhor detox do fígado. Não tem tratamento melhor para fígado do que esse.
And after I'm done, I'll tell you the way to remove, listen to this carefully, all of the toxins from your system, all of the poisons from your system, according to Cayce, in 3 days. There's a diet you eat. 3 days. 3 days. Removes all the toxins from your system.
Also, just one thing, 3 days in, 3 days off. Yeah.
Yes. Everything with Cayce is cycles. You never do anything all the time. You do it for a few days, you stop for a few days. The same way with life. He says everything in life is cycles. He says you're reincarnated in groups. He says the people that were born in the early 1900s were souls that came from Atlantis. How many people here were born between 43, 44, 45, and 46? 43, 1943, 44, 45, 46. Anybody? Besides? Well, nobody. Okay. Well, this is an aside. I didn't have a TV until I was 9 years old. So,
Yeah.
and I'll leave it at that. He said the souls that were born in those years. It's very interesting because now you're getting into the whole atomic bomb, the vibrations changing, everything opening up. He calls them very purposeful souls, is the words that he uses. And he says much will depend on these souls for what takes place in future generations. 43 to 46. Not that everybody else doesn't count, but he's just said those were for whatever reason. So we'll leave it at that. So to come back to the castor oil pack. Now, everything is cycles. Castor oil is anything you do, you don't do it all the time. You start, you leave, do it for a few days, and then you stop. Now, when you're done with the castor oil pack, take off the heating pad, take the garbage bag, that white garbage bag, turn it inside out, and now the t-shirt is inside the bag. Everybody follow what I just said?
Yes. Say it again. Say it again.
Okay. When you're finished doing the pack, yes? Take the garbage bag, and it's on top of the castor oil pack, yes? Castor oil pack, garbage bag. Take the garbage bag, so now the t-shirt is inside the bag. Okay? Store it in there. Now, the next day, when you're going to use the pack, you're going to have to take about 20 minutes to a half hour before you use the pack. Pour some oil, the way he did from the bottle, pour it onto the t-shirt. And then take the heating pad and put the bag in between, like a sandwich. Put it in between, and this way it heats it up. Okay? So this way makes it very easy. And usually 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and it'll be warming up. And then you start again. Okay? That's much easier than what he did. Now, sometimes people ask me, and then people really go crazy. I do the best I can. We all do the best we can, yes? I use a microwave every day.
No.
Okay, all right. Just saying.
No.
Okay, do what you. Okay. The only problem I have is when I shut off the lights, I glow a little bit. But besides that, nothing happens.
No.
I have used yes.
My goal is not to warm up the oil.
Yeah.
Not the oil. Everything else fine, but the oil, no.
I said I lose a lot of people. I lose people even when I say the heating pad, because there are people who say, well, there's a magnetic field around the heating pad, I don't want to use it. There's no end to how far do you want to take it. There are people who will take water. They say the water, I can't even make this up. They say the water is not kosher. You know what kosher is? You can't have milk and meat. Why is it not kosher? Because there's little microorganisms in the water. So you drink in the water, you drink in meat. So they have filtration systems in their house, half the size of this room, to make sure you get everything. So this is what I do. I'm a messenger. I wish I was smart enough to tell you how to use all these things. I'm smart enough to know Chico Xavier is somebody I study. Edgar Cayce is somebody I study. I just tell you what he said. I'm not a medium. I'm a good messenger. I'm smart enough to know what's good. So do what you want. I can only give you my experience. So I have new castor. I've done it all.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what you put into your body that poisons you. It's not. what comes out of your mouth.
Okay, so just to make clear,
Yes.
you put your shirt in microwave, right?
No.
Okay, to warm it up, right?
I
Okay.
usually
I will
don't.
do what you do. I like.
No, but,
Okay,
but
it's
you know,
easier.
it's the real thing is easier if you just put it in between the heating.
Yes, that's
That's what I do.
That's the best.
Yes. What I'm saying is, I have, when I give workshops, there are people, they take a piece of cardboard and they put it around the plug. I'm saying you. Are you kidding me? They protect themselves from the radiation from whatever. Everybody, I think in Portuguese they say "loco la cabeça." That's how I see these things. There's all sorts of God bless you, whatever works. If it works for you, do it. I'm telling you, I'm using this for over 50 years. So I'm telling you it works. And I'm telling you the easiest way to do it. And now, this is such a, Fatima, I want you to, 2 minutes, I want you to tell them what happened to you in Brazil. Go ahead. No, tell them.
Okay. I went to Brazil for a week, but this was 4 years ago. And I was in Brazil. We had my aunt's birthday. Everything was fine. Next day, I was just walking. Okay. 4 years ago, I went to Brazil for my aunt's birthday. Should I speak Portuguese or
English? I understand.
And
If it was me, you could speak
birthday party. Next day, everything was okay. Next day, I was walking regularly, and we had the parallelipipeds, right? I wasn't walking fast anymore, so I fell and I broke. I just couldn't walk, and the pain was terrible. When I went to the hospital, and then I panicked. When I stayed here more, I had to go back. He said, "No, you have to put the test, right?" And then I called the airlines, and I told Jack. I said, I remember he in his classes telling us that his son, a little boy, broke his foot, and he was healed with castor oil. He was telling me 4 years ago, "You are 60 years old. It's going to take long time." And this and that, and then I cried more and more. I said, "I castor oil." I didn't put in the micro. I warm up the castor oil exactly that way, but with the heating pad, because we have to be careful not to. I went to work. I came home. I took the mobile cast, and for an hour every night, I followed that instruction that I still have here.
It's on the website.
1 day, 2 days castor oil, and 2 days apple cider vinegar.
And so,
It's really a pain. I was tired. After 3 weeks doing that therapy, the vinegar, the apple cider vinegar, it was making my stomach sick. But I thought, well, let's have faith, you know? Because after 30 days, I had to go back. The doctor has no idea I was using this therapy. I was just with and then the doctor told me after 30 days to go back to take another x-ray to see how the healing was, because I was 60 years old. Right? And then I followed for 30 days every night doing that therapy. I still have it. And after 30 days, when I went to the doctor to take an x-ray, the doctor was really surprised, because when he took another x-ray, everything was healed. And not only that, he said, can you try to walk? The doctor said, can you try to walk? Because he thought I would need to go to a physical therapy. I was able to walk. You know, my foot, I was able to move. He was really surprised. And then I told him, well, I used castor oil. He said, I never heard about that. But I didn't need even the cane, to use a cane, because I was really thinking, how am I going to walk? Because during these 30 days, people were telling me, no, after that, you have to go for therapy, and it's going to take a while, and some people even have to go to a surgery. I said, no, I better do these 30 days and it worked. So that was my story. And now I started because it really worked.
Very good.
Now, the other part that you left out is another pack that you used apple cider vinegar and salt. You would use 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of salt. You could use kosher salt. Sometimes he actually said in the readings to use Morton's iodized salt. Make a saturated solution. And this one is really messy, and your house smells like a Caesar salad. But he says it heals the tendons, the ligaments, the joints. I've used it for carpal tunnel syndrome, water on the knee, fractures, sprains. It's magic. If you use that with the castor oil packs, and this is a formula. Everything here comes from the one that I gave you, that catalog. He's the official supplier for the organization of Virginia. Through him, I don't sell anything. I do this for money. After I healed of my illnesses 2 years ago, back to my illnesses, I was very angry. I had there's nobody like spiritual people to screw you. Is that right? Is that the best way to put it? Anyway, I had a lot of anger, and that's why I got sick. I made myself sick, and I opened myself up to illness, and that's the law. I was depressed and bad financial decisions. I even sold my house. Thank God I took it off the market, but it was sold already. I was really loco like I was. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. And I was probably in a place like psychologically like the Umbral. It was terrible. It was dark. I just attracted horrible, horrible energy to myself. Until I forgave. You see, and then everything changed in my life. The best video that you will ever see on forgiveness is on my website. How many of you have ever heard of somebody called Carolyn Miss? Carolyn, it's on my website. You'll go there, it's on forgiveness. There is nothing better. Without that part, you're going to stay sick. I don't care, even if you heal yourself physically, you're going to be sick. You'll get something else. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Key. And then along with that, Edgar Cayce said, you don't have to read the Old Testament. And he read the Bible every year of his life, from the time he was 12 years old, cover to cover. Every year of his life. But he said, you don't have to read the Old Testament. He said, the Old Testament is one sentence. One sentence. Am I my brother's keep? That's the whole story. Am I my brother's keep? He said, the New Testament, you don't have to read the New Testament either. He said, the New Testament is also one sentence. To love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. That's it. Easy, right? And I'll give you the key my experience in life, because I get up every day and I really do look at this world. What's a nice boy like me doing in a world like this? You know, I get up and oh, okay, and I look in the mirror. I don't know who the hell that is. So I always come back to Christ. Out of all the teachers, all of them, he gave it to you very simply. See, they tried to give it to you. Moses tried to give it to you. He gave you 10 commandments. 10 was too much for you. You couldn't remember it. You couldn't do it. He says, forget it. 10 is not going to happen. He says, I'm going to make it simple for you. He says, I'm going to give you 2. So 2 we can all remember, yes? You have to learn how to love. You have to learn how to forgive. And you have to be of service. Okay? Is that it? Did I cover all the bases? Is there anything else?
Oh, Castor Oil, no. Apple cider vinegar.
No, I wasn't talking about that. That's the key to everything, to all of this. Now, this is a massage oil. If you have arthritis, this is magic for you. Okay? There is nothing better than this. This is formulated by Edgar Cayce. The most important ingredient in this is peanut oil. If you have nothing else in your house but peanut oil, you're good. He combines it with 4 other oils, and it's just that good. I think that's why Tanya was so excited. Yes. Remember Tanya that was here? So when she comes, I work with her. Fatima works with her. She goes into spirit, and then she calls me over and says, well, what is that, Dick Cayce? It came to her in trance. One of the reasons she came to New York was because Edgar Cayce came to her and told her that she has to help spread the word about Edgar Cayce. And interesting that I'm here. But that's what came to her through trance. So when she works, she does through spirit, and I give them as much of this as I can. And she was having really bad pains in her knees. I told her what to do, and most of the time when I tell people what to do, they don't listen. Which is okay. You know, they don't listen. But this, she listened. And this is what healed her knee. This oil. And that's why, now, I'm going to show you a little video for about 6 minutes. This is, I interviewed this couple also on my website 8 years ago. He's an arborist. He's one of these people who climbs trees. He has contests, you know, who can climb the tree the fastest, who can jump them, you know, whatever works for you. It's not my thing, but okay. So for fun, he's up in Rochester, New York. Him and his friend climbed a frozen waterfall in the middle of winter. He fell over 100 feet. He had to be medevaced out by a helicopter. They took him to Strong Memorial Hospital, and his wife, the priest, met her at the hospital because they didn't think he was going to make it. And not only didn't they think he was going to make it, but they wanted to amputate his foot from the ankle down. I'm going to start this where he starts going over all the things that were wrong with him. And I'm not going to show you the whole thing. They said he would probably be an invalid, he'd be in a wheelchair, he'd have to cut off his foot if he survived. That's if he survived. His wife is a massage therapist who was at a workshop like this that I gave. And she remembered what I said, and she did it. He was walking 6 months later. A year and a half later, he won a New York State tree climbing championship. And they wanted to cut his foot off. And he did what Fatima did. That's how powerful this is. Edgar Cayce was a messenger. said he was with Christ in one of his incarnations. All of the stuff comes from God. That's the best way I could put it. This is all from spirit. And nobody knows about it, right? If I wasn't here, you would know about it.
I'm glad that you did.
Me too. So I do this because, especially after I healed myself of Parkinson's disease, I just felt a calling that this is what I'm supposed to do. When I deal with people with neurological illnesses, I don't take any money, and I actually encourage nobody to call me or to come to me. I tell them to go to my website. Everything is there. If you have a neurological illness, which is a whole other, these are the appliances, only these came through spirit, which is what I use to heal myself. I don't know if I'm going to have time to go into it. This is a silver solution, a gold solution. I call this the fountain of youth. I'll get into it a little bit, but there's just so much stuff. Like I said, I could spend a weekend here with you. The article that I gave you that I translated into Portuguese through Google Translate, that was printed in a magazine, the Edgar Cayce magazine. It goes out to 30,000 people all over the world. I had 2 people contact me. Both of those people knew me. You think out of 30,000 people, somebody's got Parkinson's disease? Nobody contacted me. They didn't even, the article that you read, they didn't even want to print it. They didn't want to print it. That was edited. They removed the title, Healing Parkinson's, Raynaud's, and Arthritis Using the Edgar Cayce Remedies, for legal reasons. So, but they printed. It was printed. The things that I teach you here, they don't even teach down in the organization anymore. That's it. The doctor, there was a doctor that came looking for me, talk about how spirit, she is a medium. She came looking for me 2 years ago. And she's the only doctor in the United States that uses the Edgar Cayce remedies. There is nobody else. Nobody else. Her name is Dr. Carrero. She's on Broadway and 21st Street. We give workshops usually most months, depends on the month. But she's the only doctor, she's the only MD that uses this stuff. Can you imagine? One MD. So I'm going to show you a 6-minute. I'll let him describe. They're a cute couple. You'll see when she's talking, she doesn't even want to use the word amputate. She doesn't even want to use the word. It's like, you see it. Finally, I'm sitting on the side, and I said, all she says is, they wanted to take it. So finally I said to her, what do you mean they wanted to take it? So then she uses the word amputate. They want to cut it off.
Can I have a quick question? These arthropods need to be warmed up as
No.
well, or just all of the dress?
This is the best massage oil that you'll ever get. He was very into massage. He was very into colonics for everybody. I don't know if you know what colonics are?
Yes.
Okay. For everybody.
Okay.
And there is no better massage oil than this. Doesn't exist. Any other questions on castor oil before I leave castor oil? It's also part of the treatment for... too late. Any other...
Can I reuse the pack, the
Yes.
castor oil?
You can keep reusing the pack unless you get fluids on it. If you get blood on it, if you get pus on it, throw it away. Otherwise, yes. But don't just keep it for you. Don't let anybody. It's your pack. Okay. This is also. How many people here have allergies? Allergies? So you'll go to my site and you but basically what you're going to do every morning when you get up, you're going to take 4 drops of this put it on your tongue and swallow it. 4 drops. Okay? Then you're going to take 4 drops of this and swallow. Okay? 4 and 4. We'll make it easy. You do that 5 days a week, leave off for 2. Then you'll go to my site and you'll click on the allergy button, which there's a whole article on it, and you'll see how powerful this is. Okay?
With my baby, he has a very like constipation that was very severe, and I remember doing a research at the time, and I was putting like 1 tiny drop on the
Tongue.
yes works
Oh, yeah.
every time
When people were
Babies.
constipated, he would tell you to use a pack, or he would tell you to take Fletcher's Castor Oil, which is basically fig juice. Fig juice. He was not into medicines because medicines are, you get used to it, it's temporary. He was into using natural almost all the time. Food, diet, massage, herbs. It's all in the way.
For me, like it was a miracle, because it was hard time like taking to the doctor every time and seeing. I'm not even going through this, but was what tiny.
Yeah. Well, infants get sick quick and they heal quick. Both ways. When you get older, everything takes longer, which is what I tell people. When I was young, I still remember I cut my finger, I would have a scab. The next day it was gone. I'd be picking it off. Yes? If I get a cut now, I can wait a month and it's still there. That's what happens. Everything. Yeah. So why? Because I'm closer to the exit sign, as they say. So when you're young, everything is growing. But I'm going to give you the fountain of youth before I leave. I am going to tell you what I did, and it's the same treatment that I did to heal my Parkinson's, which everybody should be doing.
Do you know any experience with cancer?
So now you get into a very touchy subject. You see, 19 years ago, my wife had breast cancer, and this is what started me on the whole. This is how I found out about spiritism. And there is a workshop that's going to be coming up in 4 weeks. I have somebody flying down from Washington. And again, you go to my website, I'll show it to you where. She's the botanical, I will say, in the whole world, nobody knows more about cancer and herbs than she does. How many of you have ever heard of the Hoxie cure? Oh, nobody. Okay. There are herbal formulas. Again, there's actually going to be a 6-hour workshop. I just gave 3 workshops on cancer with Dr. Ferrero. Dr. Carrero. What I wrote in, if you want to be, I'll send you stuff. This you should write down, or you go to my website is my email. I think it's on the card, rosen.jacob@gmail.com. I send stuff out all the time. Sometimes you won't get anything from me, and then 4 or 5 times a week, if spirit moves me, you're going to get an email from me. And today, what did I send it? I sent something out on Larry and Donnie, whatever the hell that thing was. Don't worry. Anyway. She had cancer, and that's what brought me to Brazil. I went to see John of God 5 times.
Oh, yeah, I know.
This is me personally, I'm not a big fan of John of God. That's me. What he said to my wife, I took away your cancer, and she died of cancer. So, he didn't take it away. For me, when you say take it away, that means it's gone. So it didn't. I watched him do stuff. I watched him cut, slice, burn. When he's an entity, stuff happens. And I don't want to go further than that. I'll leave it at that. I think Tanya's good, and I think this person that's going to be coming from Washington, she has something called the Hoxie remedy. When you click on the cancer button, go to my cancer cancer. I'll show it to you quickly. Everything is there. So she's coming down and she's going to be giving a workshop. That's June 16th. It'll be in the city. And it's going to be on all sorts of herbal remedies that she uses. She makes her own. There are treatments for cancer that doctors don't know about. The worst thing you can do, and this is what Cayce talks about, is when you go in there and start poking around, what he calls irritating it, and then it spreads. Cancer is normal. I don't want to get into a whole cancer thing. Cancer follows its own laws. You see, you open yourself up to cancer, and you can heal yourself with cancer. But it's tricky business. The earlier the better, and there's so many things that cancer, I could be here for hours. If you know of anybody that has cancer, I would go to the workshop with her, because me and Dr. Carrero are flying her down. If we don't make anything, we don't make anything. I don't care. This is certain times you have opportunities in life. I was going to fly to Washington with Dr. Carrero to meet her, and she wants to come to New York. Whatever. So she's going to be in New York. This is one of those opportunities that you should take advantage of if you can. It's $50 for 6 hours. If I had it to do over again, this is, if I would have known about Dr. Carrero, who uses the Cayce Remedies, and he had treatments for cancer, if I would have known about this woman that's coming from Washington, in my heart of hearts, my wife would be sitting there. That's what I believe. Whatever fate, destiny, karma, whatever, she passed. That's the way it is. But if I was very afraid 19 years ago when you said cancer, it's like, and I'd never dealt with anybody with cancer, let alone my own wife. So we did what the doctor said. I don't know. I mean, what I'm telling you, anything that I tell you, I know. If it's coming out of this mouth, then I really know. Cancer, I don't know. And we went home. That's when I went out to see John the God 5 times. I was there for a month, and then ultimately, the remedies, the treatments, and everything that I did, I would be here another 5 hours. But anyway, if you know someone who has cancer, that's the workshop to go to. Dr. Carrero is the doctor to go to. She deals with people with Parkinson's. I have a young boy who's got multiple sclerosis. He's around 27, 28, and I went over this appliance with him, which I didn't bring with me. I've got a lot of stuff. I hope I get through what I brought. He's using this with the gold, with the silver. This is also part of the treatment for Alzheimer's, dementia. Cayce says this will give you a new brain. This will give you a new nervous system. Good? Brain, nervous system. There's 2 appliances. There's this and there's this, which I didn't bring with me. And this. This is critical here too. Everybody in this room should be taking this. I've been taking this for the last 15 years. The only thing, I lost my hair, a few teeth, but besides that, it's all good. Now, what does this do? He gave 6 readings. When he went into trance, it was called a reading. He gave 6 readings for a Hindu scientist on this. This is basically iodine, trichloride. There are herbs in this, and electricity is shot through this. I take, as soon as I get up 5 days a week, I put 2 drops of this in a glass of water, warm water, half a glass. This is also part of the treatment for arthritis. Big part of the treatment for arthritis. Now, what does this do? Why do I say this is part of the fountain of youth? This is what this does. It cleanses the entire glandular system. Everything that goes on in your body is through your glands. Everything. It balances your entire glandular system. Cleanses, balances, and it makes your blood system alkaline. In the Cayce readings, keeping your system alkaline is the key to health. Key. He said a cold or a flu can't exist if your body is alkaline. Does that answer your question? Did you get more than you bargained for?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
So, I still wanted to, this little Fatima story is good. This is another,
this is better.
this is better. Okay, let me just see if I get it to the right spot.
And they cut it off. That's okay, we don't have to worry about that. And they quickly, started to check him over, and slowly, one injury after another, kept the list started to get long. Your injuries included.
I broke both my ankles, fractured my pelvis, broke 5 ribs, and fractured 2 vertebrae in my back. I also bruised my bladder,
Torn carotid artery.
broke carotid artery. They said I basically had some sort of paralysis in my face. When I would smile, only one side would go up there. There was just nothing there. So I had some nerve damage in my face. I definitely hit my head on that fall. And
Your helmet.
my helmet, yeah, kind of, I obviously saved my heart. Having a helmet on, but I guess we can have it up in there.
So we got to the hospital, and we shortly found out all his injuries, and they casted him up. They wanted to do surgery on his right foot ankle because they said that it was so bad that the blood flow was going to be a problem.
There's a main artery that goes through the bone.
And his talus bone, and the best thing for him would be to take it, so he didn't have to worry about any of those problems. And I questioned can you even see it that well on the X-ray? It's so swollen, and why would we do this? And their answer was that they had the best surgeon in Rochester.
When you say take it,
Yeah.
what do you mean take it?
They wanted to amputate his ankle to his foot off
Okay.
to secure that there would. So they. Where they could reset it to. And I asked why tonight, why can't we do it tomorrow to see when the swelling goes down. That was their answer for why he casted both of his, they weren't 100% on the pelvis at that point, being fractured because of the swelling.
It wasn't until 2 weeks after they re-x-rayed me. So I said my pelvis just really hurts. I don't think I complained much about any other injuries except my pelvis hurt, and that was the one thing nobody told us anything about. So they re-x-rayed me and found out that it was fractured. They couldn't see that in the beginning.
It was just too much swelling with everything. So his, for the first week, we didn't do much by way of actual packs. It was just more positive thinking because he was so casted from pretty much head to toe.
I think right from the hospital, I know that that first night, when I got to the hospital probably about noon, and I think it was like midnight, I made it to my room and got off the back one.
Right.
But that next day, I remember just positive thinking. It's not me. Nothing's gonna stop me. This is just a hiccup in the road. This is nothing. I'm gonna do better. And even I was in the hospital for 5 days, and I think just right from the start, positive energy and positive thinking made everything a lot easier. So I think right from day one we started that. And the friends and family that came in to see us just brought, I really brought good positive energy with them, which I've been very thankful for because it definitely is. But it wasn't until we got home from the hospital and sorted through everything that was going on. My sister and my brother-in-law let us stay in their house in their recovery. So we were adjusting to all of that.
Because we could fit a hospital bed in their area and it was more handicap accessible because they said he'd be in a wheelchair for quite a while if he was ever able to walk again. And So we stayed there to get adjusted. Our house was just not set up for that. Just moved our dog and everybody right in.
I think it was after, so that about maybe another week's time or so to get adjusted and to mentally grasp onto what we're faced with here. Is when we actually, once we conquered that, we actually started doing some more aggressive techniques.
We weren't able to get to his ankles right away because they were hard tested, but his back brace could come off. Right away we started with massaging into the areas just to get some circulation going. We also started, as soon as his one ankle cast came off and he went to a walking cast, we started right away with the Castor Oil Packs. We went to the Castor Oil Packs immediately on his pelvis, which helped right away actually with the face. You started to see a lot of his face starting to heal up as his pelvis started to heal, his face started to heal.
And acupuncturist said we were curious as to how that was being affected, and her thoughts were that your nervous system flows right through the center of your pelvis. And I fractured, I basically separated my pelvis and fractured it. So it disrupted that flow. So she's like, she told us if you can, repair your pelvis, get it back to a healthy pelvis, I guess, that everything else should fall back in line and repair itself.
We started noticing that was one of the first things we saw to heal was his face, the first physical, and then the pelvis. The pelvis hurt you for quite a while, but it was definitely healing. Started with the packs right on the pelvis, I would say daily. And even when I wasn't able to put it on him, he would keep it right in the plastic bag and lay it on himself.
I had nothing else to do besides lay there, days on edge. So I took this Castor Oil Pack, even in the plastic bag, and I had it on some body part.
All the
time.
Me.
Just rotating it through, I could take my back brace off as long as I was laying down, so I would just lay on the packet. I would just let it sit on my lap and put it on my ankle. I think it actually maybe draped it over. I had a hard cast on my right leg. I may have just draped it over the cast. Even why not? My theory was why not?
Yep. Nothing but time on your hands.
Nothing but time on my hands. And I think another big thing I did was visualization. Again, I had nothing to do but think about what was happening. So I took every part that I knew of that was damaged and actually picture it in my mind and will it to heal itself and actually envision bones fusing back together.
It was
and just telling my body to heal.
It was great that he got to see his x-rays. They would show them to him. He would watch it and he would picture that x-ray and picture everything just coming back together.
I did that many times a day, just as much as I could. Again, I had nothing else to do besides focus on getting better. And there was no other option in my mind. I was going to get better. My attitude, I guess, was if they're going to take my ankle, my foot, go ahead. You're not going to stop me from doing what I want to do. It just, nothing was going to, I'm going to live my life and be healthy again.
Yeah.
What were the other packs that you did? And the massage oils that you used?
So once the cast off eventually started coming off, and it was everything but the right ankle at this point, we would pack his left ankle, his right knee, his pelvis, his back and knee, apple cider vinegar and kosher salt. 3-day rotation approximately. We tried to do multiples at once, just pure ease. So we did his left ankle, his right knee, and his pelvis all at once. We did that for 3 days on, and then we'd stop. I did massage pretty much from day one, even just to massage his head and his scalp, everything. And I used a lot of the Egyptian oil for that. His back, I didn't do much deep work. It was really just soft, barely even, I thought it was more just moisturization of the skin. But I feel that the oils were very beneficial. Didn't get massage anything in the area of his carotid artery that really scared me, but we did do packs of the castor oil on his neck. That healed up great. That's the only thing we still get checked periodically to make sure there's no scar tissue building up there. And they say everything's great. The doctors did tell us that when he finally did get his right ankle cast off, that it was about, well, we do surgery, or we're going to try to get it better. And the doctor did say, he said, I can't set that any better than it's set. The way that it's healing, I couldn't do surgery to set that better. And several times, strong is a teaching hospital, and several times we had students come in and out, and as they would do the different phases, and people that actually started out with him in the emergency ended up coming back in to see him about 6 months later in the orthopedics and saw him, and they did say, take a good look at this because you're not going to see it again. And my thought was, why won't we see it again? You know, it's a miracle, but miracles happen every day. We did do, yes, I would say.
Okay, so we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Even though there is no such thing as time. But that being said, again, I would say if you put yourself on my mailing list, just email me rosen.jacob@gmail.com. I'll put you on the list. And I may even send you some past things that I think will be helpful for you. I didn't. Sure.
We are going to talk in private here or not? We are going to talk here in private.
Private?
Yes. Or you need to schedule appointment.
This is what I suggest.
Okay.
I'm going to stay here. Whatever, I don't care. I got nothing scheduled.
We'll let her be first. Be careful.
What a boring life. Yes? So, I strongly suggest, that you go to my website. Go to that website. When I tell you it's all there, there's lists of diseases, there's therapies, there's treatments, it's all there. Then, contact me. That would be my suggestion. You can email me, you can call me. Don't call after 9. I have milk cookies. And but it's all there. I will see people. I don't see people. I'll see them with Dr. Carrero. I'll see people. That's not what I do. But if I have to, I will. I mean, I have an office in my house. I live in West Nyack. It's in Rockland County. But I'm telling you, 99% of your questions will be answered on this website. Am I right? It's. I made it pretty simple and clear, very clean.
Let me ask one question.
Really, just one?
Just one.
If you have the head pneumonitis, head pneumonitis, you advise the person to use iodine or not? This kind.
I would advise that there's a lot of things. There's a 3-day cleansing. Let me end with this. When I said to you the way to detox your body, there is no better detox than what I'm going to tell you. And this is, he would recommend this when people have major illnesses. He says it removes, and this is a quote, and this is also on my website, how to do this, but I'll give it to you quickly. 3 days, all you're going to eat is either the red or the yellow delicious apples. 3 days. Eat at least 5 or 6 apples a day. Have at least 5 or 6 glasses of water every day. Oh, I find it's helpful. I usually have black coffee because what you're detoxing and you're just getting all these poisons into your system, this picks me up a little bit. So for 3 days, at least 5 or 6 apples every day, at least 5 or 6 glasses of water every day. The third night, he would recommend any place between 2 tablespoons to 1/4 cup of olive oil. 2 tablespoons to 1/4 cup. He said that olive oil is a food for the digestive system. Okay? That's how I get started. Then I would take this, there are packs, diet, massage, colonics. This is a holistic treatment. This is not, gee, give me the pill or give me. This is. And most of these are not quickies. When I had my Parkinson's, which I didn't get into, I did the treatment every day. 30 days, nothing. I didn't feel it, I was still sick. And then slowly it started to get better. So you have to be patient. The key with all of these remedies, you have to be persistent and consistent. You can't just do it for 2 days or a week and, oh, it's not working. No. You have to give it a chance to work. You didn't get sick in one day, and it's going to take time to get better. But you will get better. You see, this is the beautiful thing with this. It's all here. It's natural. There's no side effects. It's all here if you do it. I had a woman, this is really the last thing. She has MS across the street from me. I told her this 4 years ago. I said to her, here's the book that I used, da-da-da-da-da. And then yesterday I was watching her step out of her car with her son. It just was so terrible. She was barely walking. So I went over to her and we started talking. So I said, why didn't you? And she said, oh yeah, I forgot what you said. I said, okay. So I said it to her again. And I said, well, some of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to stop drinking. So the son is standing there. He says, she's not going to do that. She has a wine every night. He says, you're going to have to stop eating fried foods. He says, oh, she's really not going to do that. So she's smiling. So I'm saying to myself, you know what? Here she is. She's purple. If I tell you she walks about an inch at a time, and here I'm telling her, I'm giving her at least hope. Nothing is, nobody heals everybody. Even Jesus didn't heal everybody. But at least there's hope. At least there's something. She's got nothing else going for her. She wouldn't give up her fried food, and she wouldn't give up her wine. So I might as well be talking to the wall. So, what do we do next? I'm going to stay here, and I will answer anybody's question. Okay? So, we're good? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bom, pessoal, nós vamos então acabar o nosso dia. O Jack vai ficar aqui. Mas primeiro, eu sei o que acontece. Na hora que o palestrante acaba, vai todo mundo correndo em cima do palestrante. Porque todo mundo tem uma coisa para fazer lá fora. Né? Só que a gente não vai fazer isso porque nós somos um centro educado. Pessoas com educação, nós vamos deixar ele almoçar primeiro, para depois voar em cima dele e pegar ele de pergunta. Então, vamos todos, então, deixar o Jack ser o primeiro a almoçar, com tranquilidade. Não vamos deixar também ele sentar lá, pessoal, e a gente tem em cima do prato com as nossas perguntas. Vamos deixar ele relaxar um pouquinho, comer, pode sentar perto, não tem problema não. Mas 10 minutinhos ele já está bem, aí a gente começa com as nossas perguntas. Só uns anúnciozinhos, a gente vai fazer a nossa oração final. A gente tem um lanchinho bem gostoso lá do outro lado, tá bem gostoso mesmo. Todo mundo aqui, a gente pede para quem puder, para compartilhar, porque é assim que a gente paga o aluguel. Quem não puder, faz uma quentinha para levar, porque é assim que a gente paga o aluguel. E quem não puder e não tiver dinheiro, vai comer do mesmo jeito, porque não é só de aluguel que a gente vive, né? Então, esse é o primeiro anúncio. O segundo anúncio é que amanhã a gente tem a Célia Diniz. Ela é uma que inspirou a personagem Elisa, do filme As Mães de Chico Xavier. Ela é a mãe de verdade, a mãe que os filhos morreram e ela recebeu as cartas. Então ela vai estar aqui amanhã para dar palestra às 7 da noite. Recomendo todo mundo vir, é uma chance muito legal para vir ver a pessoa que realmente aconteceu. Super, uma simpatia, já virou amiga, então muito legal. E no próximo sábado vai ser o último dia que a gente não vai ter o nosso grupo normal, que acontece aos sábados. A gente vai ter o Sérgio Soares, que vai dar um workshop de vidas passadas. Regressão, tudo que tem a ver com vidas passadas, tá bom? Então, talvez a gente faz até uma amostrazinha, não sei, a permissão, como é que é, mas ele vai falar tudo sobre terapias de vidas passadas. Então, quem quiser vir na semana que entra, vai ser também um workshop um pouquinho fora. Não é isso que a gente tem todos os sábados, quem tá aqui sabe que é um grupo que a gente faz, só no mês, geralmente, de abril e maio, que a gente muda algumas coisas, mas depois volta tudo ao normal, joia? E, por último, nós temos algumas psicografias que chegam, aí todo mundo já vai os olhinhos, né? Ali está o nome da pessoa encarnada, que é para ela, e o nome do desencarnado. Por exemplo, tem uns irmãos, então tem o nome dos 2 irmãos que deixou a carta, que assinou a carta. Então, se você tem a conexão que pode ser você, entre em contato comigo. A gente tem cartas, às vezes, que fica aqui muito tempo e as pessoas não vêm, a gente também não vai ligar, não. Então, como se diz, a gente vai colocar ali no quadro e todo mês muda, né? Quem recebe ou não. Então, essa é sobre as cartas da psicografia. Todo mundo convidado para o lanchinho. E vamos, então, fazer a nossa oração final, que o Jorge, com muito carinho, né, Jorge? Quem entrou ali agora vai fazer para a gente a nossa oração. Agora é a oração final.
Em